Question: how do you translate the pasuk "Shuvu banim shovavim"? You know it's a famous pasuk. Come on, give him a yeah.
Can't move any faster.
I get yelled at by my wife, and apparently my kids too. All right, guys, go to Gmail.
Sorry, Gmail.
So get this. Is there
any English ones for him?
Yeah, there's one on the corner. Yeah, Behar. We're going to do Derush Gmail. We have a pasuk in Yirmiyah that says, "Shuvu banim shovavim," return, O wayward sons. Sounds familiar, Tom?
Yes.
Right? So Zera Shimshon says something very interesting. How do you translate the word shovavim? There's two ways you could translate the word shovavim. Shovavim could be lashon teshuvah, and it could also be learned as lashon reshaim. Right? What does shovavim mean? Lashuv, to return. So it makes it sound like you were shuva, right? Like you made shuva. Or it could also you could learn it as reshaim. Reshaim is wayward ones. You know, like you guys that are off the derech, right? That's the general ways that you would explain that, right?
Yes. In Behar.
Behar.
Torah.
Gimel. Behar Gimel. So again, shuva banim shovavim. The word shovavim could be explained as teshuvah. And you could read it as the Shaim. And you know this pasuk, you can't say it's referring to Teshuvah because that doesn't make sense. Return, the ones that made Teshuvah. It doesn't make sense because they already made Teshuvah. They already returned. You understand? You can't say that the word means Shovavim. The question is, what does the word Shovavim mean? Okay? Shuvu means return. Banim. So return sons. Shovavim. What does it mean? Shovav, the shoresh, could mean shuv, return, meaning that they already returned, and that's why they make the shuvah, but that doesn't make sense, because why would I do something shovavim, right? It's gonna, or lashon reshaim, it could also be the reshaim, the wayward sons, like you guys that need to return. We can't say it's talking about teshuvah, because we already know, because the pasuk is not talking about to return, but we don't need you to tell you to return if you already returned. If you already made teshuvah, we don't need to tell you return ones. I did it already. I'm here. I'm in shul. Well, I'm here. What do you want from me? I'm here. Mordechai.
Can I just make one comment?
Yes.
My personal story.
Sure.
I'm about Shiva.
I know.
Okay.
You tell me all the time.
So we came back. But you know what? You're always coming back.
So that's why I don't like the term that people say, I'm also about Shuvah. What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, what are you talking about? If I do something wrong yesterday and I try to make the Shuvah today, that's about the Shuvah. It's not.
Okay.
It's a myth. I'm saying. Yes, I agree. But Yirmiyah is screaming out to the people, return. He's talking about the masses. He's not talking about I think he's talking about more standard stuff here. Not like, yes, I agree with you, and I'm with you, by the way. But in the context of what Yirmiyah is saying, it's not that. Okay? But I hear what you're saying. So. Right, so shuv, right, and also, if you want to say that the perush is the shaim, it's also hard to understand because why would you use this term shovavim? Just say the shaim. Your Ben nation return. Why would you use the word shovavim and that has a double language and it's hard to understand? Why are you beating around the bush? Say what you need to say and say it fast. Tom, you with me?
Yep.
It's a great question, no?
Very good question.
Zera Shimshon said there's the third way to look at the word shovavim. He's going to show you a third way that you could look at the word shovavim. Okay? There's a Gemara in Gitin. Okay? It says, how do you know that a nochri, a non-Jew, can acquire another non-Jew regarding his hands? Meaning, they're living amongst us in Israel. How do you know? We know we're allowed to acquire a slave. Okay? Eved Kanani. How do we know that they are allowed to have an Eved Kanani? How do we know that they live in our land? They are allowed to get their own. So it's actually a pasuk. Why? Why are you asking? Because it's a pasuk in this week's parasha. It says, "V'gami b'nei hatoshavim hagarim imachem mehem tiknu." Tiknu is from the shoresh of acquire, koneh, to acquire, koneh hakol, like we say Hashem, koneh. So it says also b'nei Israel, right? It says v'gam, and also from the strangers that are living with you, from them you can acquire. Which means you can acquire them, they cannot acquire you. Okay?
But they can acquire other than.
We're going to find out.
Didn't you just say that?
No, we're asking, what's the question? Because we have a pasuk saying we know we are allowed to acquire them. How do you know they are allowed to acquire themselves? Right? All this, by the way, is the Gemara. It doesn't say it is. Zera Shimshon. Zera Shimshon brings his whole Drasha. And he says, Atem konim mehem, you could acquire from them. Velohem konim mikem, but you cannot acquire from them. Velohem konim zera zeh, and they're not allowed to acquire each other. They're not allowed to acquire. This is what Eshaki says. But then the Gemara says, what are you talking about? Because he says, if you look at the wording of the Gemara, it's very strange. He says, Velohim konim zeh lazeh, and then he writes, Yachol lo yiknu zeh et zeh. Where would you know, why would you think you're not allowed to acquire, that they are allowed to acquire themselves? So the Gemara stops and says, what have you just said that they're not allowed to acquire themselves? Again, very confusing. It's a very confusing Gemara. Eshaki says that how do you know that a nochri can acquire nochri with his hands? There's two ways to acquire a slave. Is his work that he does, that belongs to you, or his goof, his body. If he acquires his body, that means his children that he has belongs to you. Any new children he has belongs to you. Okay? That's what a goof would be. Maaseh yadav is just I acquire you, you get to go home, but you're my slave. I take care of you and stuff, but I don't own you like that. There's two levels of ownership. So Reshaki says, how do you know you can do this for a goy? A goy can do it to themselves. He said the way it says in the Gemara, he says they are not allowed to acquire each other. Okay. Then he says, and you would think that you're not allowed to acquire each other. Therefore, the pasuk says this, and then the Gemara says, "What do you talk? You just said they're not allowed to acquire each other." And at the same time it says, and why would you think you're not allowed to acquire each other? Which means they are allowed to acquire each other. So the Gemara says, what are you talking about? Either they're allowed or they're not allowed. You said they're not allowed. Now you're going back and saying, what makes, and I know you think that you're not, but here's why you really are. The Gemara says, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Either you are or you're not. And he says, no. When I said that they're not allowed to acquire each other, he was referring to ownership of the body. Not ownership of the hands. Ownership of the body, which means that he holds that the goy cannot acquire another goy as a slave. Complete slave. Children and all. So he teaches a kal v'chomer, and he said, just like we know for a fact, is a nochri allowed to acquire, is he allowed to buy a Jewish slave in Israel? Who said?
In Israel?
If God forbid somebody owns a debt to somebody, you're allowed to sell yourself as a slave to that person in order to pay off your debt. So that's fact. That's a pasuk. It's a pasuk in, I think, I don't know. It's a pasuk. It's probably how Parshat? No. That's somewhere. No, for sure. No, Mishpatim. By the way, we know Mishpatim. There's a pasuk in Mishpatim that you're allowed to sell. If God forbid someone has to sell his daughter, very frowned upon, not recommended. But if God forbid, but there's halachot about it.
Yeah, but not to enough.
To a nochri.
But he says, "Velo hem konim mikem."
Well, no, not huh?
At the top he said, "Velo hem konim mikem." They don't buy from you.
Right. I know.
Yeah, and then you're saying that they could buy it.
So what the Gemara is asking, well, you just said you can't. Which one is it? So Reish Lakish makes a separation. He explains that the goy is not allowed to acquire another goy when it comes to goof, but Maaseh Yadav you can. And how do you know you're allowed to acquire Maaseh Yadav?
Meaning you can acquire his work, but you can't acquire
his body,
his offspring.
Right. But how do you know that a goy is allowed to acquire another goy? Through a kal v'chomer. Just like a goy is allowed to acquire a Jew, kal v'chomer, that goy is allowed to acquire a goy. If a goy could acquire a Jew as a slave, then for sure he could acquire a goy. That's what the Gemara says. Okay? But then look what the Gemara says. It says, Hane mele bekaspa. That's referring to a purchase. What about behoska? What about hoska? By force. We had two things. We had maaseh versus goof. I can own a person, but thank you very much. I could own a person by the fruits of his labor or his entire body. And how do I acquire somebody? One of two ways. I could purchase or I could take. You go to war, you take. So Rav Papa says, listen, you ready for this? You following me? It's a little. This part's a little confusing. I ain't gonna lie, but I'll bring it home. Okay, we're showing the different levels. We're showing the different levels of buying buying a slave and acquiring a slave. How do you want to? How could you acquire a slave? How could you purchase a slave or take a slave? Rav Papa says, Ammon and Moab. We know those two, Ammon and Moab, right? We're not allowed to go to war with them, right? We're not allowed to go to war with them. But Rav Papa says, Tom, you like this one?
You're not allowed to go to war to them, but you're also not allowed to bring them in as converts till 10th generation.
Right, the men. The women, Ruth, Moaviyah. The women are allowed to come. The men weren't allowed to come. The women are allowed to come. There's no isud about the men, about the women coming in.
How come we don't go war?
Yeah. Moab, you're not allowed to bring Moab in, right? But a woman you can, not the men. Why? Of course. So it's more than I think it's because the men made the women go out, or the men made the
whatever. It's the seed.
Go ahead, tell me.
It's the seed you're worried about. Believe me.
That's true too. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, how come we can't go to war to them? Because what they do?
Because they gave us a rolling wall, gave us water on the way.
Right, because we have to have hakarat totov for them. But
I thought we don't bring them in because they didn't give us.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because they didn't give. That's why we don't let them convert.
So then why can't we go to war with them?
For that reason.
But he's saying the complete opposite reason. We're supposed to have hakarat. What does it say in Oscar? We had hakarat totov for them or
You
something.
don't go to war with them because you have a Karzer for Tov and Amelech coming from there.
Nah, what are you talking about? From something future? How do I know what future? Could you look and see why we don't go to war with Ammon and Moab? Look at sorry. Why don't we go? It says Rav Papa. Come on, boys. Whoever's got the articles got to step it up. Eli, I don't know what you're doing, but you could look inside.
But I know
Don't share
that- I
nothing.
can
Just
tell
learn
you
with
the
me.
reason.
So then say it.
It's good for other people to speak also, but anyway.
Baby, wash you up.
No, the reason that we have a chorus of one, because they have yichus back to Avinu's family. Another reason is because there was a certain gezerah only until a certain amount of generations we were allowed to go at war with them, and also on the panemius reason is because they had a nitzos and Mashiach in there, and we weren't allowed to.
Give me another scroll. Give me another scroll.
Just saying.
Let me see. Was that true, or that you're assuming that's the reason?
No, that's true.
So
It's true.
why?
Hashem doesn't have a-
Because
he's
of
not
Lot?
connected to time.
It's a blow- and
Why do we
Mashiach-
have hakarat totov to Lot?
Because he was still
Avinu.
righteous compared to Sodom, you know.
That's why he stayed. How come Hashem saves Lot from Sodom?
David HaMelech comes
David
out.
HaMelech coming from him.
David HaMelech is coming from. So by the way, let's say where is it? It says go to Bamidbar. Rashi is the Bamidbar. Perek Kaf Aleph. That's in Hukat. 26 Kavav.
Also, it's Indian of Chorus Tov. There
Ki
was some-
hashbon itz liho melech emori hu nechameh Moab Rishon. Kekavav. Hold on. I don't know. Okay, fine. So we have 3 reasons why you're allowed.
Allowed to what?
Why you had to have hakarat tov to
What
them.
does it say?
Based on what Eli said, it's not telling me why here.
Most of Mashiach. Look, there's a big schus that Mashiach come out and Bruce and another small thing. Not just what I said.
No, it's not a small thing. It's
And
just
Mishpacha with Lot, and that goes back to Amavinu. And also,
Devarim. I'm sorry,
as
it's
an Indian
Devarim.
Panemius, we're not able to conquer those lands until the Moshe Mashiach. Like Esau, Moab. Why weren't we allowed to go into those lands? What's the real reason? Seriously, why weren't we able to invade those lands? We had to go through Derek, Sichon, and Og. Why did we couldn't just go straight through their lands?
Look what it says. You're right. Vayomer Hashem Elai al tasad Moab. Don't mess around with Moab. Ki tidgad bam milchama. But ve'al tidgad, right? Ki lo eten lecha me'arso Yerusha. I'm not giving from your land Yerusha. Ki libnei Lot natati et ar Yerusha. Because I'm giving it to Lot's kids as the nation. It's in Devarim in Perek Bet. So that's the reason why you're not letting go after. But when Sihon defeated Moab and Ammon,
Yeah.
Tell us about
they're not Ammon and Moab anymore. They became Sichoni people. So that's it. You're paying the
We didn't
different
conquer all
currency.
their land.
So now you're allowed to attack them.
No, but it was only a portion. It was only a portion of the land because they didn't conquer all.
So that's what Apapa says. Because of Sihon, I'm allowed to go into these two countries that I was that crazy.
So that's also a premise that we had a little ma'ain of Mashiach because we were able through that to conquer the auras that were in there a little bit and taste a little bit of most of Mashiach. That's what Sadiqim say anyway. I heard that.
So again, so Apapa says Ammon and Moab taharu b'Sihon. So he says you found the source that a nochri is a buy a nochri. Nochri said minayin. How do you know you're allowed to buy if a person acquires if a nochri takes a Jew by captive that it sticks? Meaning
That's a valid sale?
by force though.
By force.
By force. Because we have a pasuk in Hukat. Hukat, it says, Vayish mimenu shevi. Right? And they took a captive. And since they took it's mentioned, they took somebody, they took one person into captivity, and they call her a captive.
Sounds very similar.
So hold on, don't, very
I
good.
didn't look ahead.
Very, very good. Now he's getting closer. We're giving a third explanation of the word shovavim. So we start by saying shuvu banim shovavim. The word shovavim, what does it mean? It can mean two things. One, it could mean lashon teshuvah, because what does shuv mean? To return. So shuvu banim shuvavim, return. Right, it could be marked as return, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense over here because you already returned, you already made teshuvah. So why are you telling me? It's like when someone tells you to do something, I already did it. Why are you telling me to do it again? Oh, I thought you didn't do it, but Hashem knows you did it. So Yirmiyah knows. So it can't be tzaddik, it can't be teshuvah. So the second way is reshaim. But if it's reshaim, then why would the pasuk use this term? Why would they use shuvavim? Just use the word reshaim. So it is Zera Shimshon is bringing a novel explanation of a third opinion, a third explanation of the word Shovavi means. We bring, this whole pool that we did with this Gemaran Gitin, that's very hard to understand, because it doesn't write the whole thing straight through, and Resh Lakish does the little pool thing, is to show you that how do you know that a Nochri is allowed to buy a Yisrael behazakah, with strength, from the word Vayesh Mimenu Shevi, captive.
Horrible, huh?
Crazy. You see two things. A person could be purchased through money, a kinyan, or it could be taken by force. Also, it could be owned by just the labor of his hands, or it could be owned by him completely. Okay, which means he could give you a shivha, and you have to have kids with her, and have kids with him.
How could the Torah let a strong guy control a weaker guy just because he could control him physically?
Doesn't let him, but it's a reality.
Reality is reality.
Has the Torah allowed that though? Just like Lot Yitzhak.
So we're going to talk about it soon. Yeah, Reuven.
I'm trying to understand, Pidyon Shavuot is captive. Why are we not, it's a mitzvah, why are we, I don't understand.
So he's showing, the Gemara is showing that a Nochri that takes a Jew through Hazakah, right, that a captive, right? He's saying that how do you know that it sticks, that it's okay to be taken?
Crazy. What?
It's crazy.
This is the end, or is it gonna be-
No, relax. It's just the beginning. This is the beginning.
It doesn't say it's a mitzvah. It means
It's not a mitzvah. No.
it's
What does it mean, okay?
to
What
buy-
does
to
it
get
mean?
him back,
Give me the
you
Gitin.
gotta transaction.
Give me this first one.
Transaction. You
It's
get it.
saying,
yeah.
it's saying so far now what we're holding now, if you grab somebody physically, if a goy grabs a Jew and grabs him physically, locks him in his house, he forced him to be a slave, he owns him.
You got him.
The nafkamina would be that if it's not a valid transaction, that you just knock down the doors and pull out your guns and fight until you got it. But if it's a valid transaction, you make the deal for him.
So that is Pidyon Shavuot, paying
Right,
off. You
right.
can't go in like,
Oh, you can't go save a guy like that?
Maybe yes, maybe no. But if it, but
What
you
happens,
do it through a transaction.
Charlie, if it's in Eretz Yisrael and our hand is above, are you saying we have to still buy him? I mean, that would be like Hamas grabbing, like exactly what's going on right now.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Charles, what do you say about this? What he's saying?
I'm working on it.
Bam Kasha. According to this,
All right, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. All right, look. Look.
Can't free them. We gotta pay them. What's going on?
We cannot deduce that a goy, an ochri, may acquire by capturing a Jew as a slave, just as he can acquire a goy, because a Jew cannot be acquired as easily as a goy. How then do we know that the captor can acquire the Canaanite slave who is obligated to perform mitzvot, and in many respects considered a Jew? The pasuk refers to captured Jews as captives, indicating that they were now owned by their captors. Thus, a captor acquires a captive, whether it's a Jew or a goy. It doesn't have anything to do with what you're supposed to do. It has to do with what the guy that's taken.
1 second.
Meaning, maybe he's not obligated to
This
mitzvot
guy-
right now.
Is this guy a goy that captures a Jew? He's saying the goy did a kinyan to catch this guy, the Jew, yeah?
Yeah.
The Jew runs away and escapes. Are you saying
Where? Where?
From the goy.
When?
A goy grabbed the Jew, captive, bring him in. You're saying here he won him. He did a kinyan.
He owes him
right?
money?
What?
Why'd he take him?
Stam. Like the
Stam.
Ktanim. Like the Pasuk. The Ktanim.
Right,
He
right.
did a kinyan, he got him. Now this Jew breaks the window and runs away. The goy has reshut to go catch him. He didn't go to Beit Mishpat and tell the goy, the Jew ran away. I own him because they got him choskal.
No.
So we didn't understand it. We didn't understand it.
So again, I think it's explaining. It says the pasuk refers to captured Jews as captives, indicating that they were now owned by their captors. Thus, a captor acquires his captive, whether he's a Jew or a goy. So what?
No, so what do you say? Whether he's a Jew or a goy, he's owned by the captive. What do you mean owned? So if the Jew ran away, is he?
It must be talking about the Jew himself. Maybe that means like maybe he's not hayav in any mitzvot now because he's a slave. Maybe he's talking about that. A Jew cannot be. I don't know.
Maybe you turn the water.
Time and time again, Jews were captured and they became slaves. Nebuchadnezzar, the Assyrians, etc., etc. Not a one-time occasion.
It's true. Unfortunately, it's true. It's true. But you need to know how it translates
Wait,
here.
what about Paro? Were we not slaves in Egypt?
Uh-huh. The point that we're making, the point that without getting to the halachic details, which I have all good points, is that the person that's taken by a goy is called a captive. That's what I want to bring out. And Zera Shimshon explains that a nochri is not is we know the Yetzer Hara is also called nochri. The Zohar HaKadosh in Parashat Bo Mem Amud Aleph explains that nochri means a non-Jew. Okay, it's also an allusion to the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination himself. How do we know? It says in Tehillim, Ki lo yebecha el zar v'lo tishtahave le'el nechad. You should not have in you lo yebecha. What does Mordechai? What does becha mean? In you. You shouldn't have in you a foreign ruler, and he shouldn't bow down to a foreign god. And we know the Gemara on Shabbat. It also says, who is el zar that's inside of a person? It's the Yetzer Hara. Okay. This whole thing that we're showing is, remember, we're trying to get to the understanding. What does Shuvu Banim Shovavim mean? What does Shovavim mean? We said it can't be Sadiq, and it wouldn't mean Drasha, because if it was Drasha, there's no reason why we just make a random, it would just say it differently. Just say it straight out. So Shovav, what are we learning? Is we're trying to say it also means captive. And we're showing you that
the person that's captive to the Yisrael.
right. We're getting there. We're unpeeling the onion.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
We're unpeeling the onion. Legit.
It's a rough one to understand.
So look. So that's what I'm saying.
The onion has no fruit. It's all klipot. The onion is all klipot. It's a dry klipot, another klipot,
Wow, I didn't know
no
that.
fruit.
That's crazy.
So the Gemara says not to eat onion.
So look what it says.
The Breslovers don't eat onions raw. Yeah.
Raw.
They're delicious.
That's why what? That's why they're sick?
I eat
Why
them. I
onions
love
good for you? Now it gives hair on your
It's
chest.
all klipot. There's no fruit and no fleas.
A raw onion is actually
Mix it with
poison.
avocado.
What?
You guys
Breslovers
don't-
eating
Eating a raw onion is poison.
Really?
You can dye
All right, boys, we're done talking about onions. We're good now. So now, look, the whole thing is that we're showing you that shovavim means something else, something new. Shovav means what?
So when you fry a lot of klipot, it becomes sweet.
Nice. Very nice. So just like the Yetzer Hara,
It's from the army.
it's from Russia. Just like the Yetzer Hara is also called Nochri, and how do we know? We have a pasuk in Tehillim saying that David Amir is warning us: do not have in you a foreign ruler, and do not have foreign god. And the Zohar tells you a foreign ruler is the Yetzer Hara, and a foreign god is also the Yetzer Hara in Masechet Shabbat. So you have one thing in the Zohar, one thing in Shabbat, showing that both of these concepts are Yetzer Hara. And we know just like a Nochri is able to acquire a Jew through his Maaseh Yadav, through his hands, so too the Yetzer Hara who's also called Nochri, remember like in Gemara we talked about Nochri, is able to acquire a Jew with his hands. Meaning, how do you acquire?
Grabs him b'koch.
Or kesef.
Yeah.
He could buy him a kesef. What's the kesef? Or the tavot of this world.
That are mutar.
Forget that part. Yeah, sure.
Because the
Sure.
Asur ones, it's choskari.
By the way, the Arizal says something very crazy. As the generations go on, the Hitzonim desire the person more and more to go after the tavot that are mutar.
Really?
Yes, really.
Why?
You heard that? The Arizal says that the evil forces of the world, as the generations continue, they push and advocate, and they push you to enjoy the desires of this world that are allowed. And you see it today. Everything today is about convenience and comfort. And now. You don't have to leave your house anymore. Right? Everything gets delivered to you. Everything. It's crazy. There's nothing that you don't have to do anymore. Yeah, Ruben.
The Zera Shimshon says that had it hit the 54.5 level of Tuma in the triumph, they weren't Kodesh Kedoshim. They were Mazana, except for that one woman, right?
Yeah.
And he says that you can hit the lowest level through Heter.
Whoa.
Ooh, who says that?
The Zera Shimshon.
Oy, that's rough. That's a rough one. So that's the case. That's a rough one.
Cancel your ticket.
They don't give you
Cancel
nothing.
your ticket.
So look, the kesef is all the tavot of the world. Now what about the hazakah part? The hazakah is when a person sins, right? And he goes back and does it again.
That's choskari.
Because at the end it becomes
Random.
okay to you. It becomes
Random.
okay. Right? It says if you do it, right? It says you do it the first time, you feel regret. You do it the second time, you feel less regret. By the time you do it the third time, Moshe, it's like nothing. It's like mutar. Right? I'll never forget, I always think about it. But when you would know, Tom, when did the mini skirt come out?
When the what?
The mini skirt.
The minister?
The mini skirt. I'm serious. I'm not joking. The 60s. Excuse me. I'm not joking.
No, he was asking for a question. He said, in the Prophet or everywhere else.
Who said that? Who said that over there? The 60s, right? Tell me about. 1 second.
The Megillah
1
already.
second. Chill your bones. In the 50s, how did everybody dress?
Sneers.
Like Borough Park. In 50s,
That's true.
it's true.
That's very true.
I'm sorry, it's true. In the 50s, everybody dressed like there was Borough Park in Brooklyn, Lakewood. Long. Everybody. All of a sudden, things move. So the first generation that had that this new thing came out, everybody was freaking out. Everybody was going crazy. Second generation, it's okay. Third generation, mutar. Third generation is mutar.
That's what they had a problem with rock and roll when it came out. They really thought it was gonna look what happened actually.
They're right. I guess they weren't too wrong.
Open the doors. Those parents really
Stop
did
it.
not like
Yeah.
that.
Call your phone.
So what are we learning, boys? You have to understand,
You're talking about Elvis Presley. That's all you're talking about.
guys. It also says in the Gemara, it says in Berachot that the Reshaim are controlled by their own Yetzer. Okay, and Shem Muhzakim Hem Lahto, because they force them to sin, because it's so easy for the Rasha to sin because they're so used to it. Again, the beginning, it's hard. You feel regret. Oh, why'd I yell? Why'd I do that? Second time you yell, third time it becomes nothing.
But it's all driven through the
So it's a
Mashah.
benevolent ruler
Are we building
at
up?
the beginning.
But the best book that
The benevolent ruler, but as it goes on and goes on.
so my son had a book. My son had a book called The Little White Lie. The Little White Lie. It was a book called The Little White Lie. And what was it? There's a book. My son, whatever he was, I don't know how old. And the book says that he spilled cookies on the floor, and the mother said, "Who did it?" And he said he didn't do it. And the next page, you have this little cute bear that pops up on his shoulder, right? And then the next day, something else comes up, and he tells him to do something, and he listens. Then the little bear gets a little bit bigger. Third day, look, by the 10th day, you're talking about a giant bear, lion that and the guy's scared, he's crying. The kid is what he's doing. The guy, it's crazy. And then till he makes teshuvah, he says, I don't want to do this anymore.
Wow.
It's getting too much. I can't handle it.
Jewish book.
I hope so.
But if you do something for the right reason, even if it's quote unquote negative, look at Aaron.
We're not talking that. We're
No,
talking
he
about.
was lying all the time to the individual.
We're not talking about good intentions. We're talking about people that have bad intentions, or people that. It's not, look, you have people that start doing things. Good intentions. It's a very funny thing. Good intentions, because a person could do something with good intentions his entire life and get a one-way ticket to Olam Haba. But the guy could also have good intentions and go straight to Gehinam. It depends how those intentions are played out. I had good intentions, but I killed a kid. I just wanted to hit him to teach him to be the right way. But you killed a kid. I don't care what your intentions are. It really, of course, God has shalom. But I'm saying that these things, intentions are important, and it's really a double-edged sword. It depends how it works. You can't just say I have good intentions, so it's okay. If someone legitimately has good intentions, they're going to look inside. What's the halakha? What's the right thing to do? And then from that, okay, if it works, it doesn't work. Okay, that's a different story. Stop it. Relax. You're okay. Everything's halakha.
I was in a Breslov shir, and then the shir is like, light a candle. Everything's okay. I was like, it's not gonna help to just light a candle now.
What are you doing that for? So look, we're explaining that the Yetzer Hara has two ways to acquire a person: through kesef and through hoska, right? Through money, tavot, right? Taste a little bit of the good life, or hazakah, right? If it gives you one thing, then you want it again, but it's horrible. It's crazy how the Yetzer works, right? Aval, however, he can never own your goof. The Yetzer Hara can never own your goof. Ela lema'aseh yadav. Why can't he own your goof? Because your body is owned by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is not owned to you, and it is not owned to the Yetzer Hara.
From the Kisa and Kobe.
Huh?
Contradiction you said. You said that the whole mashal, not the nimshal, but the showing that a goy can own a yid.
From that we're extracting the definition. We want to understand what does shuvu banim shovavim mean.
Yeah.
So we're explaining shovav means a captive. What's a captive? Someone that can be redeemed. So we're explaining the word when Yirmiyah is saying shuvu banim shovavim.
Shovavim it's shvuim, no?
Right. That's where we're going. That's the direction we're going in. Wait a few minutes. I'll explain. I'm going to explain. The shovavim. Look at the beginning. It says shuvu banim shovavim. That's what Yirmiyah is telling the people. Return.
Right.
He's saying return. But who is he talking to? He can't be talking about the people that made teshuvah because they already returned. Can't be talking about Eshaim because why would you call it Eshaim for? Just call it Eshaim. What are you saying a different name for? What does the word shovavim mean? That's the question. He brings a Gemara in Gitin, a complicated Gemara, and at the end of the Gemara, Rav Papa says that Ammon and Moab became allowed to us because Sion overtook them, and he ends by saying, "How do you know that a Nochri can acquire a Yisrael behozka by the pasuk Vayesh b'menu shevi by the war of Amalek?"
That's the contradiction.
It's not a contradiction. It's the explanation of the word.
You just said the nimshal or the
Forget the nimshal. The explanation of the word. Listen to me, Reuben. The explanation of the word shevi,
right.
okay, is the shoresh of the word shovavim. Shovavim is telling return waywards. What does that mean? Wayward, captive. He's telling you don't let the Yetzer Hara take over you. It's not as bad as you think. That's where he's going with now.
So Shovavim here, the Zera Shimshon means we're in captive for the Yetzer Hara.
Yes, and we're trying. The whole purpose of bringing this, Reuven, the whole purpose we're bringing it is to get the shortish of what this word means. Don't worry about the Gemara on Gitin. It's complicated.
Stand this way.
So we're explaining that the Yetzer will acquire you in two ways: hoska and in kesef. Right? We'll try to get you to avot, and we'll try to get you to keep doing something. Right? But he's explaining, boys. He's explaining that he cannot own you by the goof. Because Adam al korho sarich litin din v'cheshbon lifnei melech me'achem melechim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yom Kippur comes, your Yetzer Hara ain't going to be there. You can't say, "Oh, my master made me do it." It's not going to fly. You're going to have to own up to it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one holding the bag. You're going to be the one holding the bag, and you got to deal with it. And that's okay, because I'd rather that than have someone else as my master. I'd rather God be my master. Okay. So this is what it says in Pasuk and Behar. It says, "Ki avadayim, you are my avadim." Right? Hashem tells Bnei Yisrael, "You are mine." Lo yimachru mimkeret eved. You will not be sold as a slave. Shakadosh Baruch Hu eno rotzeh she'anochri. God does not want a nochri to acquire a Jew begufo. Why? Because they belong to Hashem. It doesn't belong to a goy. If you own to a goy, you ain't gonna eat kosher. You're not gonna have time to put the tefillin on, and you sure ain't gonna have time to learn Torah. Once you're an eved of a goy, that's it. That's it.
So a goy can't captive a Jew b'choska and legally own him by this because the Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want that.
Right. I'm not getting to the Gemara Gitin. It's complicated, and it's just the purpose of bringing it out was the last line. Shevi is the last line. So too the same thing with the Yetzirah. You're only a Shabbai. It says Zera Shimshon says you're only a captor. He's a captor. Dichti vayesh b'minu shevi. So you understand the whole concept of what is Shuva Banim Shovavim. Now you can understand what the words mean. Shuva Banim Shovavim. Because what does Shovavim mean? Kelomar al tachshevu liyot nikuyim biyad Yetzirah. Don't think that you're owned by the Yetzirah forever. Kinyan olam. Don't think that you're owned by the Yetzirah forever. God forbid liyot has v'shlom metuma'im beyado. Don't think you ever have to be assimilated with the Yetzirah. Shezeh eno. It's not true. Ela atem kimo shivuim. You're like captives. Milashon vayesh b'minu shevi. Like you're captives. Vezeu lashon shovavim. That's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. Yirmiyah is telling everyone, come back. You're a captive. You're not owned.
So he's saying is because you're a captive, you can still free yourself.
Yes. Don't think. By the way, I spoke to a guy the other day who goes, I don't want to. I told him he needs something. I go, the guy's not very religious. I told him, go to shul. He goes, no, I don't do that. What don't you do? He goes, no, if I need something from God, I don't go. What kind of retarded thing is that? Are you crazy? What?
You put on tefillin?
No, not yet. I'm working on it. I got to do berachot. One beracha a day. You know what? I can't even get Tommy. You heard that? I can't even get a guy to put the tefillin on.
What? A guy from Efrat?
No, Brooklyn. So I told him, I go, at least make one beracha a day. If you don't do it for you, could you do it for me? It was for you, I'll do it.
Which bracha?
I told anyone, I don't know. Anyone. Look, this is the way it works. I'm going to follow up with him. 9 out of 10, he probably didn't start. But I'm going to tell him again in a nice way. And
What, is it a friend of yours?
That's not relevant. What do you want? Social security number?
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's like you're doing a futzah to random people or a friend of yours are trying
I'm not Avadis. I don't call random phone numbers and say, do you want to talk? No, I'm not there yet.
Today in Daf Yomi, we were talking about the greatness of Rabbi Chia.
Yeah.
That Eliyahu Navi came late to his chavrut. He had a guy in the land here that he was teaching one of the tzaddikim. I don't remember the name. And Eliyahu Navi came late to him. He said, why'd you come late? He said, because I had to wake up Avram Avinu and tell him to daven and then put him back to sleep. Then wake Yitzchak Avinu and put him to sleep. He said, why don't you just wake all them up? He said, because Hashem doesn't let me wake them all up. Because if they all wake up, boom, it's over. The game over.
Mashiach come right away.
So he said, wow. So he said, is there anybody else on that level? He said, yeah. Rabbi Chia and his sons are on that level.
His two sons.
And so somebody told Rabbi Chia he's on that level. So he got him and his sons to daven together. So he got to Mashiach Baruch Muda Geshem. Rains are falling down. He got to Chiyat HaMetim, and a huge Ra'ash stopped them, and a bear came in. Because if they just would have said Chiyat Baruch Hashem B'Chayat Metim, they would have came out of the dead. It's like Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Rabbi Chia. They said, who's Rabbi Chia? Why is he so great? What did he do? He said, Rabbi Chia, it was a time that the Torah was very weak. It was in the time after the Churban, it was a balagan. He took a zarei pishtan, Lenin seeds, planted them by himself. He waited for them to grow. He took the Lenin and made traps to catch deers. He caught deers.
I know.
He caught deer meat, shechted the deers, did barbecues with steaks for the orphans of the Jews.
It's true.
With the cloth.
With the cloth.
By himself. He wrote Chumash, Bereshit on one, Shmot on another one, and he gave it to the kids. And he said, I'm going to come back in a few months. You teach him. You learn it by heart. And you teach him. You teach each other. He came back a few months later. They all knew it there. And then he kept on doing this in cities. And because of him, the Torah lo nishtekacha miYisrael.
So the Gemara. I don't know if it's the Gemara you do in Baba Mitziana, right?
Wait. So they told him, why'd you come late? He said because
pay hey.
Okay, pay hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Continue. What you saying? Why'd you come late?
So he said because I want the guy. I took him to Shamayim to show the hechalot, and he wanted to see Rabbi Chia's thing. I told him, don't look over here. Here it's Nura, the Nutsutsi, and it's big lights. He said, don't look. You know the people that do the welding, right? You can't look at it. It's a tiny thing. He said, "Don't look. This is like a place you can't look at it." And he couldn't hold back. He looked and he got blinded. Anyways, Eliyahu Navi healed him and he got healed. But he said that's why he came late because
busy healing
the guy wanted to see Rabbi Chia's chambers in Gan Eden.
Who's this guy?
One at a time. You could open up.
One at a
Tanaim, one at Moraim.
Very good. Because the story also goes, it's Rabbi Haya and Rabbi Hanina talking. He goes,
This thing is you're teaching the guys in Brooklyn. You're saying, I called my friend in Brooklyn. If you get one Jew, come back to Hashem, you're already in the Rabbi Chia's
I'm gonna tell you something. Tom, listen to this. I had so there's a guy in Brooklyn. I want to put tefillin on. He tells me if you remind me every day at 6 a.m., I'll put it on. I don't game on. No problem. So I put my alarm here is 1 a.m., 1 p.m. Okay?
You do Chatzot and you call it.
No, 1 p.m., not a.m. p.m. He's 6 a.m. in America.
PM is nighttime?
No, p.m. here in the afternoon. A.m. is right. 13 o'clock. So I tell, so it didn't matter it didn't matter, and I'll be honest, it's worse, I was in the shower multiple times at 1 p.m. because I would work out at 12. Once my alarm went off, soap and all, I'd get out, text him, and if you look at my conversation, me and him, all you see is morning reminder, tefillin reminder, for months. Didn't matter. I'd be playing tennis in the middle of a thing. I let the ball go. 1 o'clock, I'm going. Shut up. Didn't matter what was going on. It didn't matter who I was talking to. It didn't matter what I was doing.
Tennis in a frat?
Yeah, it's courts, beautiful courts. I stopped playing, but yeah, because I have no time. But it's these things. Yeah, you start and then it goes. No, relax. I didn't shecht any deer. Okay.
Not yet.
Weiter. So look. So now, by the way, it's very important to know that the Yetzer Hara, it's a trap to tell you that I'm done. It's a trap. It's not real. I had a guy call me today. Okay, you'd appreciate this one. He goes, he has something that's in him that he can't get out of him. I go, why? He goes, I can't get over the fact that I didn't drop what I was doing and go down October 7th. He goes, I don't have I can't.
He's a soldier. He has skills.
Yeah, no, but he's 40. But he's a guy. He's a guy. Yeah, he knows stuff. And
There's truth to that. Yeah.
So I told him, I go, listen to me. I go. So I talked to him as well, but his thing is he feels such guilt that he can't move on.
Oh wow.
And I told him that's the Yetzer Hara. And I told him if you listen to him, you're a fool. So I told this guy, you're a fool. And he listened to me. And he's okay, all right, you're right, okay. He understood. He understood what I was trying to explain to him. But you can't let the Yetzer Hara tell you that I'm done. It's selfish, by the way. It's a cop out. It's a cop out to say that I'm so bad I can never do anything good, or like I'm done. I did so much bad in my life. I'm done. You can't. It's a cop out. It's fake, and that's exactly what Yirmiyah is telling when it says Shuva Barim Shovavim. Why? Because we have a Gemara, right? We know what does it say in Shabbat? Beautiful Gemara. It says, and by the way, I said this over. I said Hodul Hashem Kitov Kilum Hazdok, because I said this over on Tuesday. Okay, for all you guys that came, I'm glad you came. For the guys that didn't come, you missed a real party Tuesday.
Where?
You got to get WhatsApp. I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you nothing. You have WhatsApp on your phone.
All
or
I
no?
wanted was a friend.
I'm your friend. Don't give me that. You don't call
You told
me.
me to get WhatsApp.
Is that a friend? Is that a friend?
All I wanted is a friend. I said WhatsApp.
I don't call. Listen to this.
Okay.
On Shabbat, this Shabbat that just passed. Okay, Avi knows the story. So does Tom. On Shabbat that passed, you heard about this kid in Iran that they're gonna execute.
They wanted to kill him.
No, he was
alive.
No, it was a Jewish kid.
A Jewish, 20 years old. I did not stop it.
Executed on Shabbat.
20. Who knows?
It's okay now. It's okay.
Listen.
Okay.
Could you? No, listen. I couldn't stand it. I really couldn't stand it because you're talking about, first of all, a kid. What was the story? He lent money to his friend or somebody. When later on he tries to get the money back, the guy attacks him with a knife.
Just a detail, like an Arab, right?
An Arab. Yeah, no, not a Jew. Yeah, an Arab.
Yeah.
And he ends up killing this Arab, this Iranian guy.
Oh, the
Iranian
Jew attacked him back and killed him.
attacked the back. Yeah,
Defending himself.
And they want to kill
Defended
him. now.
himself.
And they want to kill him.
the Iranian law is that if a Jew kills, he automatic execution without a court trial.
Really?
Yes, without a trial.
אם אתה גונב,
No, unless the parents,
Cut you on.
unless the family accepts a bride.
Okay, so
But
they
they
tried to
refused to
bribe.
accept
They
it.
tried. They tried. So now, on Shabbat, listen. On Shabbat in the morning, I say, this is killing me. That the mother, it's not like it happened. It's like gonna happen, and the mother's not sleeping. Who could imagine?
Wow.
So I said, if the guy, so now they pushed it off to Monday. So this is Shabbat, and I say, if he gets released, or if it gets or something out of push law, anything, I'll make a seudah hodaya with 10 people. And then Saturday afternoon comes, Shabbat afternoon comes, and I'm like, you like you say things in your head, and you go a little back and forth. And I said, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it?
You thought it or you said it?
I thought it.
Oh, you just
I
thought
thought it. And then on Shabbat afternoon, I'm like, and I said, stop being a baby. I told myself, stop already. I said, no, and I reaffirm it to myself. I say, if the guy's going to be released, or if it gets pushed off, I'm going to make a seudah with 10 people. Beauty. Then Monday comes, my daughter asked me to go to the store to pick up something, which I never go to, but I happen to go. And I see like there's, the Bakolit, there's like a wall of wine. Wall with 20 shekel wine or whatever, I don't know. So I say, you know what? I'm thinking, look how the Yitzhak works. I'm saying, should I buy one? Nah, whatever. I have it home. If it happens, I have it. Like, you know what? Let me just buy one. And I bought a bottle for the seudah that I don't even know if it's going to happen yet. An hour later, I check my phone, and it says that the guy got postponed for a month, and he's back home. They sent him home. No, Iran.
God.
And I made a seudah on Wednesday. Tuesday. And it was and we did it with 30 people came.
Also, the guy got killed.
In the middle of the day.
And the
Last
president,
minute in the middle of the day.
right. Rabbi Nevinson in Jerusalem said it's not the first time we had this case in Iran. Iran is Paras by Purim, where they wanted to kill a Jew, and in turn the second in command died. And this Jew got released. Yes, she said the Jew got released, and the president of Iran died. Exactly like Haman and Mordechai.
Who was one of the
Huh?
Arisai.
Ibrahim
He's
Arisai.
Raisi.
What, that's his name?
But Arisai.
Yeah, Risa and Risi.
Aseret to Bnei one is the Arisai. This guy's Raisi.
So let's continue. So what did I say at the seudah? I said Haba litahed, when you come and try, and you want to do something good in Shamayim, they come and help you. There's a difference between the Drasha, they let you do it. If you want to do something bad, they'll let you do it.
Potchim lo.
Potchim lo.
Habali tamot potchim lo. They open the door.
They open the door. They don't
Open
push
the
you
door.
through. But
They don't.
if you do something good, if you want to do something good, they're going to help you. I wanted to do a seudah with 10 people. 30 people were there. Right, Ari? Come on, it was cool. And I didn't buy any of the food. You know that? I didn't buy any of the food.
It came up exactly the amount of money that was given.
What do you mean?
It was like 699 shekel the budget.
No, that was the guy. No, that was something else. That was a private
the
thing.
Seudah?
It wasn't the Seudah, I know. But you understand? I didn't even buy any of the food. Okay, and by the way, the salads that they had are the ones that I love. Because they had craisins in it, and my wife doesn't make salads with craisins.
What's crazy?
It was real.
No idea. I have no idea.
It was real
I have no idea.
What's crazy?
I have no idea.
Hamotziot.
Yeah, raisins. Yeah, craisins, raisins.
Raisins is tzimmukim.
You understand? When you want to do something good, Shemaim helps you do it. He doesn't just let you do it, he helps you do it. I wanted 10 guys. I wasn't even sure I was going to get 10 guys.
Why your wife doesn't do salads with
You saw you.
Charles.
Come on, was it special or not? It really was special, right? Thank you.
Why your wife doesn't do
She don't like craisins. I don't know.
Charlie, I live right down the block. You could have called.
I will. Now I know. So this is the first part of the Drasha. He's showing you that you have the ability to escape the Yisod. Do not think from where you are, you got to stay there. That's really, really important to know. Because everyone in life thinks, you want to do good and you have good intentions. But if something goes wrong or you do something wrong, you feel down and out. And you might want to give up. And that's not the right thing to do. Because if you give up, then you're copying out. That's a selfish thing. That's selfish because you rather bow out. Now the second part, it says in Iyov, Hen kol ele yif'al ele pa'amay. You know what? I want to jump. You know, that was the first part of the Drasha. I want to go to Dalid. Dalid, go to Dalid, number 4. Don't worry, there's no Gitin in this one. Yeah, Eli, if you don't mind. There's a Gemara Baba Batra, not much better. There's a Gemara Baba. Boys, you all with me? Yoni, you with me? Go to Dalid, number 4. There's a Gemara Baba Batra that says, a person that lent to Hashem, Honen Dal. Maveh Hashem, Honen Dal.
If you give a poor guy, it's like you're lending Hashem.
Right, it's a pasuk in Mishle. It says, if you lend
What's
to
chonen?
Honen is if you have compassion.
You give chen, you help.
You have
help the poor
Rahmanut.
guy.
You have Rahmanut. Okay? Rabbi Yochanan says in the Gemara, Ilmale mikra katuv yefshad leomro. I love it when I see this. There's multiple places where it says, if it wasn't written, we couldn't say it. I love that. I really do. Midrash says it plenty. What does he say? It says, Kivyachol of Eved Love Leish Malveh. Right? It's like you're lending, like you're lending, like the slave lending to the lender, to the ish.
As Hashem.
Eved Love Leish Malveh.
You're borrowing money from Hashem, and it's as if Hashem is now he has to pay you back. No, Hashem gave you money, you borrowing money to give to someone else, and now Hashem owes you. Keep your fault.
You lending the dal, you lending the poor person, is like you lent, right. It's like you laid out the money for Hashem and Hashem owes you.
Even though Hashem gave you the original gift.
Tom, you see that? Pasuk in Mishle again. Pasuk in Mishle says, Malveh Hashem honen dal. If you lend money to a poor person, it's as if you lent to God. And Rabbi Yochanan says, if it was not written, we couldn't say it. That Eved Loveh Leish Maveh, lending money, it's like you're advancing the money to God so he doesn't have to pay the poor person, you pay him. That's the Gemara. Yesh ledakdek, Zera Shimshon shaya lo lichtov honen dal Maveh Hashem. It should have said the other way around. That if you lend money to a dal, Reuven, if you lend money to a dal, it's like you're lending to God. Why does it say the opposite? If you lend lend money to Hashem, lend to a poor person. If the definition of the pasuk is when you lend to a poor person, it's as if you're lending God. So let the pasuk be flipped. Why would the pasuk say something like this if we have to understand it this way?
But by this Jewish, really, it should have said Loveh Hashem. It says Malveh Hashem. Malveh is the one that's giving.
Yeah.
Loveh is the one that's taking. So Malveh Hashem, Hashem giving. Really, by this Jewish, it should have said Loveh Hashem. Loveh, the lender is Hashem. It says Malveh Hashem. Hashem's the giver.
ולמה הקדים מלווה השם? Okay. שאין לשון כל כך מדוקדק. Okay, even that.
סתם, מדקדוק, I'm saying.
Yeah, no, but it's fair. בתורת אימא דאמרינא, so he writes something also in Baba Batra, the page before, אמר רבי יצחק, מאי דכתיב, רודף צדקה וחסד מסחר. This is a great one. Mishle, by the way, whoever doesn't learn Mishle every day, I'm sorry, you got a problem. Every day, you should try to learn something from Mishle. Mishlomo HaMelech, right? Tom, am I right or wrong? Right? By the way, Hokli Sale takes care of all your problems. Hokli Sale. We have a class here every day.
What time?
2 o'clock. 2 p.m.
I'm in Jerusalem. I can't make it.
2 p.m. Hokli Sale. For an hour. Torah here, right here in this room. 2 p.m. every day. Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, Mishnah, Gemara, Zohar, Musar, and Halakha.
How long you do? An hour?
An hour. An hour change.
Who's carrying this on when you go?
You will. Huh? Anglit. Sorry, Habibi. Anglit. Yeah, English. You're going to figure it out. You're a smart guy. So, how do we understand these questions? We understand based on what it says, another pasuk in Mishleh. By the way, Tom, if you can, I know it's hard at 2 o'clock, you should come. It's insane. I'm telling you, it's insane. The way, who wrote it, who put it together? Rabbi Hayim Vital. The Arizal's student, Rabbi Hayim Vital, put together Hokli Sale. Everything that a Baal Habayit's got to learn every day.
Charles, every day?
Every day.
2 o'clock?
2 p.m. Well, Sunday through Thursday. Sunday through Thursday. I haven't, since I announced I'm leaving, I haven't left. Since I have announced that I haven't left. Because I need to take it in. I'm gonna pay for this, by the way. When I get back, I'm gonna pay. I'm already paid for it.
Pay for what?
Like I should
Not
be.
the work, not the work.
No, for the business, I'm no, but whatever. I'm paying. It's not relevant. Relevant is now 2 p.m. If you have time, come. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. Something sick. We do Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, Mishnah. We do a Perek Mishnah. We explain it. Do Gemara. We do the Zohar, Perek of Mishnah. We do a piece of the Zohar. Then you go into Halacha, Rambam, and then you go into Musar.
Musar then.
Musar at the end. The Hida added the Musar and the Halacha. The Hida. Maran
That's the
Hida.
whole thing.
Huh?
He compiled a bunch and then he put his own commentary in.
Yeah, it's right here.
No, just added a piece. He added the 2 pieces of Musar.
Yeah, it's really the best
Best
thing.
of them. It's the best
No, it's
thing.
the best thing.
It's the Misha.
It's the best thing.
It's the best thing. The best thing. So look. So now, what does he say? Rodef Sedakah, right?
Please.
Rodef Sedakah. By the way, I think there is an English version, but it's very hard to find. But whatever, the Hebrew's fine. Rodef Sedakah v'chesed yimsa hayim. Mishum de rodef Sedakah yimsa Sedakah. So what does he say? He says the person that runs after Sedakah will find Sedakah. Ela loman lecha. What's it coming to teach you? Kol harodef Sedakah. Hakadosh Baruch Hu mamsi lo ma'ot la'asot behem Sedakah. Whoever runs after to do Sedakah, okay, Hakadosh Baruch Hu will find a way. Will find the money for you to give the Sedakah. This is such musar to me, because I'm dealing now. What am I going to do? All the programs, all the kollels, all the everything, and we go back over. It's a whole different story, and I'm struggling to figure out how I'm going to keep everything
You
going.
said it's going to keep on going this year.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other things that I'm involved in. Talmud Torah. I think there's 5 kollels that I'm involved in. Okay.
You're gonna take
There's a
this to
kids meeting.
America?
Well, the bookshelves you can have. The books are coming. So Mishum Hachi Diyek Kera Lomar Kelomar Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yalveh Lemi Shehonen Dal. He's saying that Hashem's he's gonna lend money to the one that gives the money to the Dal. Shemamsi lo ma'ot kedei shehonen Dal. He's gonna find the money. Boys, I cannot tell you how important it is to give tzedakah. If you don't give maaser already, do it now. Any money you make, I don't care. You're behind the bills. Guess what?
If it's
It
10
ain't gonna
shekels.
change.
it's 10
Ari, am I right or wrong? It is what it is.
If it's 10 shekels.
Then give a shekel. Why are you laughing at me?
It's true.
Give a shekel.
It's a chiyuv.
It's a mitzvah. There's no. By the way, there's no mitzvah in the Torah that says test me. There's no mitzvah in
If
the
you have
Torah.
10,000, you bring
1,000,
okay, and after you have 1,000,
100, 10%.
What do you mean?
And
If
so-
you have 100 billion, you give a billion.
Right.
Wow.
Shalom.
All the rich people would give 10%.
What they give? How do you know? They give.
I'm not talking about the Jews. I'm talking about scum in the world. Like,
Whatever. Huh?
So Sammy was
לא, אבל
telling me
אבא,
one day,
10
like,
billion הזה,
Sammy was telling me,
Non-religious
Sammy's my son.
שנשארתם שם,
So he's like,
Mark
oh, I have to give Meister. And
You have to what?
I forgot the conversation, but he's basically saying like Meister, like he has to give. And I'm like, you don't have to do anything. Like, what do you like?
Why would you say that?
Because I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. I was like, why is that like, you know, like why is that the thing that like you're holding on to? And he was like, he's like, Dad, because I'm going to be rich, and that's the only way I'm going to get rich.
He's so smart.
That's
Smart
what he
kid.
told me.
Smart kid. You know, it says in the books, it says if you're having money problems, give tzedakah. Kal v'chomer if you have money.
Even about the Goyim, there's a book called Ba'arno Panias, Mega Gifts. It talks about even the Goyim, they won't say rich, they said they tithe.
Say what?
Yeah,
The
makes
tithe,
sense.
that's what I said.
I remember when I was first. Hello.
That means
I was in business. Tom, listen to this. I was in business, okay, and I was having a hard year, but I got a lump sum from something. So I wrote 12 checks of Maaser based on that money. I knew I was good for 3 months, and I wrote 12 post-dated checks, and I put in the mail. Okay? And I said, Hashem, I got the first 3 months. I need you to cover the rest. And every month, we covered the checks. And we got the money, and the Maaser went through, and it was a great year. It was a very good year. There's nothing better than giving tzedakah. I'm sorry. It's just the facts.
Don't apologize.
Huh?
Don't apologize.
Now, it's very personal to me. Because of what's going on now, it's very personal to me. but I'm going to do it until I can't do it anymore. If Hashem wants me to continue, then I'll continue. People are telling me, all right, so cut them in half, so you're giving, and I don't want to. I don't want to. I just. But there's no limit to give tzedakah. By the tzedakah is being righteous, is helping. There's no limit to helping. Maaseh, yes, Maaseh is 20% max. You can't give more than
10%.
10%, 20, okay, is the max, and anything after that you have to call matana. Anything after that you have to call matana. You have to call a gift. So let's see. There's a fire in the house. There's a fire in the house, and everybody's neighbors came out.
And they caught him on the ladder.
Can you please let me speak? And everybody comes out, and they all say, "Where's the fire? Where's the fire?" And he goes, "There's no fire. It's better that I should be embarrassed than I should be allowed. Better that I should be embarrassed than my Yetzirah take over me and I fall." So he got embarrassed from all his neighbors, so that they all knew that he had a Yetzirah to go take one of the girls, and he held back. He didn't hold back.
Also
He
shows
told
what
everybody.
it also shows what a tzaddik he was.
Of course. So what's the punchline? Why am I telling you this? Ribit. If you borrow money from people, if you borrow money from people, it's not ribit is not only cash. If you give the guy if you give a guy a compliment, anything.
Is it daf yomi
extra.
now? You didn't do daf yomi now?
No, I don't do the daf.
Everything was in there.
Yeah, it says if you
Everything you
compliment
said was in the
So I borrowed money to buy a house, and I'm very careful. I can't give anybody any extra kavod
From the people that lend you.
because otherwise it's considered beat.
The big chiddush.
It's crazy. I can't. You understand? No, it's not. You're laughing, but it's the emet. It's legit.
That's a Vak Ribbis, but the Gemara talked about this, Eli Stefanski, that, and what something I didn't know, even when it's not money, like you borrow a bushel of wheat, you're not allowed to pay back another bushel of wheat. Right.
You're not allowed to pay with a. Why
If the
not?
price went up. If
But
the price went up.
If the price went up.
No,
Yeah.
that's your Ela.
If the price went up. If it didn't go up,
If
there's
it
no
stayed
problem.
exactly the same, okay.
Then there's no problem.
But you're not allowed to pay back, and the point is, if you borrow something, you're not allowed to borrow and pay back, that's what the Gemara is talking about. If it's a little thing, if there's muad, sugar here or there, but you were talking about things which the price can really fluctuate.
Yeah.
Of, like what we were talking about, I don't know, bread or something, you're not allowed to do it. I'm like, what? I don't know.
Interest. You're not allowed to give more than what you received.
Right, but not just with money. That was the chiddush of the Gemara.
Right, yeah, but true. If I borrow 2 eggs from you, I need to return 2 eggs.
That's what we're talking about, right?
No, but if the price went up, you can't give 2 eggs back.
Right.
Like milk last week.
So that's why generally what we do is we give things by matana. We give things a gift. All right, let's focus. Hey, Thursday night I said I give stuff. You guys can't talk. I give stuff.
Charles, what's your thoughts on heterisco?
You have to.
No,
You
not
have
that
to.
You have to, but I'm like, for example, I also needed to borrow money when I bought my house, and the guy was going to charge me. The tzaddik was going to charge me 15%.
What?
But
Real side, Navi. Forget Sadi, Navi.
This guy has like hundreds of millions of dollars. He's going to charge me 15%, but I had to come to his office to sign the heterisco. But like I got lucky. Hashem wanted to make sure it didn't happen. So in the end, the guy said he wasn't going to loan me the money, and then like some friends loaned it for free. So.
Man, right. By the way, it's crazy how you started one thing.
Oh, it would have cost me like $40,000, basically.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's funny how you hishtalut, you do what you do, and then Hashem comes at the end and he mistader et hakol. He fixes everything. Right or wrong? Everyone has their own personal experience. That's why I tell people, if you want to have emunah, go into business. Is that true, right or wrong? It's true. You want emunah, go into business.
Although everyone's job is their trader business.
Huh?
Everyone's job, whether you have a business of your own or you work for someone.
Whether it's technical.
It's
The concept, emunah, yeah. Because when you're in a crunch,
that's when
you call out to Hashem and He answers. That's why the Baal Shem Tov says, someone asks him, goes, how do you know Hashem's emet? He goes, I don't have to know. I ask Him, He answers. What's the problem? I don't have to worry about nothing. You just ask, He answers you.
I just spoke to him for an hour. I don't
Right. So look what it says. Okay, again. So again, the Tur, by the way, the Tur says, remember, let's recap. The Talmidei Chachamim amutar to lend each other beribit, lefi sheyodin shehu asur, v'notin otam b'matana gemura. Why? If I take from my friend a carton of milk, all right, we want to talk about the daf, carton of milk or 2 eggs. Now the price of eggs goes up. I can return the 2 eggs because I know I have in mind I'm sending him the 2 eggs as a matana.
Even you could 3, you could give him 3.
You give him 3. By the way, I did it myself. We're selling furniture. There's a sale if anyone's interested. and the guy's in America, the guy that's moving in, and I gave him stuff. And so the stuff came out to 15,000 shekel. So he's sending me American money. So I sent it. So I told him what the total dollar amount is, but I also told him, I go, please be mochel me if the rate fluctuates.
You're gonna lose because when you cash the check, they take money from you.
I don't care about losing. I want to make sure I'm not. I don't want to lose upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Losing down here is not real. Losing down here is fake. I'm not joking. Losing down here, you think you lose, and then all of a sudden you make it with one phone call. You can work 6 months and try to work on something, and it doesn't do nothing. And then one phone, and then everything just. You just got to try. That's just what it is. That's what I'm saying. But you have to have the right kavanah when you do it. The kavanah is I'm doing it because it's what I should be doing. I should be trying. That's what it is. All right. Okay, but the halakha is you can't borrow too much. A couple of bar of soap or a couple of eggs is fine, but you can't borrow real stuff. Tamid hacham, and
in other words, don't use this hectare of 2 eggs to buy a house on $100,000 and give him back 200 and say I'm allowed to with Tamid hacham.
Charles, give the man the microphone.
Yes, sir. The hachinami misho says tzedakah. By the way,
I want the stage,
guys. So hachinami, listen. Misho says tzedakah, umisho matzih hotzao lesorach mitzvot, hu noten otan b'matana gimura. Right? He gives it to Hashem wholeheartedly. The guy that goes, remember, the classic example is the lulav and etrog. We all know stories about lulav and etrog. A guy comes in with a blank check and says, charge me whatever you want. I want the best lulav and etrog. Don't even tell me, write what you want. Right?
Well,
classic example.
Wait. Here he says Devar Mu'at. Okay. Judaism is not Devar Mu'at. Our whole life is around this. The Mishnah is paying us back. It's not Devar Mu'at. When you buy a house in Israel, it's a mitzvah. You should wear it to Israel.
So, we got time limit. Sorry.
To go?
Yes.
We don't have to go, but I got a lot to say.
All right, I'll shut up. I'll be quiet.
You don't have to shush, but promise. So look, Hachina, so Misha says tzedakah. Whoever does tzedakah, right? Umi shemotzi hotzaot lesorach mitzvot. Whoever takes expenses on to pay with Shabbat. Remember, when things are tough, don't worry about it. You know what? By the way, you want to invest? Put most food on the Shabbat table. If you have money problems, put more food on the Shabbat table. Okay? We don't operate like the Goyim. Nice. The Goyim do one thing, we do another. So what does Hashem do? Hashem gives it to us as a matana. He gives it, how do we know? It's a Gemara, is a Mishnah and Avot. היו כעבדים המשמשים את הרב שלו על מנת לקבל פרס. ומותר לו לקח דבר מועט. Hashem is allowed to take a small amount, right? Regardless if it's libit or not. Because to God, if He gave us $1 trillion or $1 billion, it's devar mu'at. Doesn't mean nothing to God. What is $1 billion to God? You think it means anything? It's the same effort for Him to make this cup of water survive, maintain, as it is to put $1 trillion in my bank account. You understand? I'm not joking. It's true.
De minimis.
Huh?
De minimis.
Same minimus. Good water. You understand? So it's not. So the fact that the Hakamim are allowed to lend each other on small amounts, Hashem could give whatever you give on tzedakah. He can pay you it don't matter, because to Hashem it's nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. You understand? That's the halakha. בעוד שיפה שעה אחת של קורת רוח בעולם הבא מכל חיי העולם הבא. What does that have to do with anything? שיפה שעה אחת של קורת...
Whatever you get now, in a gift now...
No, it means nothing compared to עולם הבא. Ari, 2 seconds, we're done. And the heter is specifically with food. By the way, the heter of Hakamim, the right to Shulchan Aruch, it says, or Tur, not Shulchan Aruch, says that the Hakamim are allowed to lend to each other. It's specifically limited to food. Kemo, like it says Shulchan Aruch. Okay, it is Shulchan Aruch. Ve'afilu hachi lo tar bekatzat tehila. It's a fixed amount. Like the Taz writes, right? Ve'hachi nami tenan lashon achila she'ilu devarim adam ochel pore baram hazeh ublo ketzitza. We're not a fixed amount. אל תהיו כעבדים המשמשים את הרב על מנת לקבל פרס, אבל לעולם הבא יכול לקבל מה שאתה רוצה. דהיום לעשותם, ומאחר לקבל שכרם, וכיוון שמת אדם נעשה חופשי בכל מצוות. Okay, what is we saying here? What is this heter? We're talking about this heter, right? The first we said two things.
The mitzvot that we do, the schar we get is olam haba.
We don't get it here.
Right, so whatever we do now, whatever we're getting now is like a matana, and whatever we get later, that's the real schar. What we're getting now, the matanat that Hashem gives us now, like we invest in the mitzvah, whatever the mitzvah is, and Hashem gives us back more matanot and more matanot. It's like Him giving us $1 trillion. It means nothing to Him. It's just another matana. But the real matana, the real schar that we're supposed to be getting, or we will get, is in olam haba.
It's in olam haba, right? And what happens in olam haba? You're patur from mitzvot.
Right.
You don't have to worry about ibit anymore. No, Emet, that's the key. Mordechai, that's the bottom line. You don't have to worry about ibit. You with me?
Saying the little bit that Hashem gives you back in this world
It's nothing.
FS,
It's nothing.
The real things olam haba.
You brought that, right?
Yeah.
I was happy. I'm saying it in a nice way. No, I just noticed.
He lost it.
What's the connection to
Okay, this is a gift. There's no connection. So, but you understand? So, what did we learn from here? We started by explaining. I'll wrap it up. We started by explaining that the pasuk in Mishlei says, "Malveh Hashem honen dal," right? That whoever lends to the dal is like you're lending to God. Rabbi Yochanan says that if it wasn't rain, we wouldn't be able to say it. And what does he say? That when you lend money to a poor person, it's like you're lending money. It's like you're lending money to God. Why is it like you're lending money to God? Because we know, by the way, that the money that's given to Rosh Hashanah and Kippur is owed. That's what it is. And if you're paying somebody, that you're helping complete that amount that Hashem's got to pay. Now we also know that we asked the question: how could God pay you back? You know, they asked Rockefeller that question. They asked Rockefeller. It was a woman interviewer. She goes, "Why do you give so much charity?" So he smiles. He goes, "I shovel." Use the word shovel. I shovel money to God, and God shovels money back to me. So the interview, you know, the geniuses, these women, like, oh, so but all you're doing is moving things from one side to another. So he smiles. He goes, "Yeah, but God has a much bigger shovel than I do." So I shovel with my small shovel, and God shovels His way to me. He's explaining that I give tzedakah so I can get it back, and it's mutad, because that's what it says. It says in Gemara, someone says, if I want to give tzedakah so my son should survive, Sadiq. He's considered a Sadiq. Why? Because that's the one mitzvah you're allowed to do.
If you do what?
If a God forbid someone has a problem with his son, he says, I'm giving money to tzedakah in order for my son to survive, or to be a Sadiq.
It says.
Okay, there you go. And what does it say? Sadiku. Why? Because it's mutar. That's mutar. It's a pasuk. Right? So then we say, how could God give ribit? How could God give interest? So we answer because two things. We bring a halacha that Talmidei Chachamim are allowed to lend money to each other if it's a small amount.
And for food.
And it's for food. Why? Because that they don't have to worry about, because they already give it b'matana. And we know that Hashem giving $1 trillion is the same thing as giving anything small, like we said about the cup of water. Hashem there's no limit to His strength, which means that whatever He could do small, He could do giant. It's all the same effort.
It's also not money.
Ma'achal, food.
It does seem a little strange though that one would give money. Let's say he gives him $1,000 for the month because he's struggling, and for food means for basic sustenance. That the other guy's like, you know something, don't give me back 1,000. Give me back 1,500.
No,
that's not the case. That's not the case.
No, he's saying you're not allowed to do money. You're allowed to do food. I'm allowed to give you a basket of eggs and fruit, and the next day you give me back baskets of fruit, and you give me some rogala. That's food's okay.
And why is it okay? Why is it okay? Because both parties know
it's a matana.
It's a matana. I know that Mordechai is giving me a matana, and Mordechai knows that he's giving me a matana. The balance is a matana. Neither am I, but hey, it's Thursday night, we're all playing roles.
In a given culture, when a person's struggling and they say, I need something, then give them.
What does that mean, a giving culture?
Like, in Chachamim, like people who are wise people, not the world as we know it, if you walk to a person and you say to a person in a bank, they're going to say, well, you know something, let's check your credit. Let's see, and then I'll charge you X amount, and then I can guarantee my interest payments, and I'll give you this amount with your giving credit. But in a world of people who really want to give to one another, one person sees another person struggling. He'll hand over whatever he can hand over, and the next person in exchange will say, you know something, I don't owe you anything, but I'm going to hand over whatever I can hand over. It's going to be a nice amount.
Similar, no? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You said what I said, which is a whole lot more words. But at least we're on the same page.
I had to beat around the bush. You went right to the goal.
Well, it's the same thing. Yeah.
If I give you 1,000 shekels, you give me 1,000.
When?
I don't know. and after I want to give you a bit more. כאילו
לא, זה אסור, אסור.
אבל מה אם זה מתנה?
זה אסור. הוא אומר כסף אסור, רק אוכל מותר.
But the תלמידי החכמים...
גם כסף אסור תלמידי החכמים.
Right, okay. So bottom line is we answer the question why Hashem can give it a beat, because it's something mu'at. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you that giving tzedakah literally is the game changer. Okay? I'm telling you. And by the way, if you really want to be gutsy and smart, post dated checks and send them out.
What?
Post dated checks.
I don't want to try to beat the system, you know.
Well, that is the system. The system says test me.
Well, you can put credit card information down also.
Huh?
You put your credit card information on our website.
Same thing.
But you know, also, like, it says, Tanasuni na bazot.
That's what I said. It's the only thing you're allowed to test God in. Alright, so let's wrap it. So what did we learn? We learned tonight that don't let the Yetzirah take over you. Don't let yourself think that the Yetzirah owns you, because it's not true. That's what it means by Shuvu Banim Shuvavim. Right? That's a third explanation to the word Shuvavim, means a captive. A captive is meant to be saved. Inshallah, all our guys, our captives should be saved.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
Now.
Amen.
Okay? This is Chut Zera Shimshon. And the other thing we learned is B'Baba Torah, we talked about lending, when you lend money to the poor person, it's like, when you give money to the poor person, it's like lending money to God. We Doresh saying, well, when you lend money to God, Hashem is going to pay you back, 100 times. How could you do that? For the beat, Hashem follows the Torah. How could it be that Hashem is going to give interest on something? If I give a poor person $100, Hashem's going to give me 1,000. That doesn't make sense.
What for Hashem?
So it's about nothing. And when's the real reward come in? In Olam Haba. And Olam Haba, you don't have to worry because you're free from mitzvot. Olam Haba, there's no mitzvot. Olam Haba, there's no mitzvot. You are where you are, and this is where you work. And it's crazy because you don't know where you're holding. It's one of the most frightening things. No one knows where they're holding.
How come the Olam Haba is not revealed?
Because there's no mitzvot in Olam Haba.
With Hashem? What do you mean Hashem?
There's no mitzvot in Olam Haba. There's no mitzvot. Could you waste it in Olam Haba? No. Sorry.
So they're already.
There's no mitzvot.
It's out.
It's whatever you got. You returned home.
It's your Karen.
No, but Hashem's giving us a reward for that loan you gave. He's giving you much more
But
pleasure.
you moved out. It's no problem.
It's out.
It's no problem. You don't have to worry. You should have a beracha. We should have a beracha. And the zechut of learning is Zera Shimshon. That I know tonight was a little more pupuli, but whatever, we got through it.
Great. It was
Baruch Hashem. That you guys should give tzedakah, and we should have beracha.
Amen.
And don't worry about your bank accounts.
Amen.
And don't worry about your mortgage payments that are coming up. And Bezrat Hashem, we all should be zocher to give shefa ad ben Yidai until Mashiach comes. Amen. Amen. Rabbi Haniyah ben Kasha. Amen. ונצא הקדוש ברוך הוא זכות אצל לפיך רבי תורה שלמען הדור החפש למען צדקו יגדיל תורה ואדיר. אמן.